Hello, welcome back to A Second Chance. My name is Philip Jones. I'm your host this evening. Today I have a wonderful, wonderful friend, Mr. Jonathan Traylor, today, coming from the state of Texas to give us a wonderful and dynamic story. Jonathan, how are you doing today?
I'm doing well, Philip. I'm blessed and highly favored. So blessed to be here.
Oh, I appreciate you coming through today. Definitely, it's been a long time coming. I know we've had you on. We've done some joint shows in the past couple of months, and I definitely wanted everybody to get your full story, your wonderful transplant journey. So, we're gonna quit with the talking. We're gonna go straight to you. Go ahead and tell everybody your story. Appreciate you.
Well, first of all, I want to thank you for the opportunity to come on a second chance and talk with you, Philip, and really appreciate the opportunity. Um, so, in July 8th of 2019, I went into emergency kidney failure, and I started having a lot of problems with, swelling, things like that. And prior to this, a few years before July 8th of 2019, I had suffered with chronic diabetes, type 2 diabetes, and hypertension. So, the diabetes was really bad and out of control. And I had worked some jobs and things in the past that I didn't really have medical insurance. And to be honest with you, I didn't like doctors at all. Doctors just gave me anxiety. And I had like white coat syndrome. So I had a lot of problems with even wanting to go to the doctors and, keep my body in check. And I was just really living life, living life how on my terms and how I wanted to live my life. And I wasn't really managing my type 2 diabetes, wasn't really managing my hypertension very well until about the age of 41. And 6 months before July 8th, I actually had started to exercise and really try to work on bringing my hypertension down and my sugars down and things like that. But unfortunately, the damage had already been done to my kidneys. And July 8th of 2019, about 5 days prior, I had been sleeping a lot in the bed, and I had been experiencing a lot of what I thought was flu-like symptoms. And man, I couldn't get out of the bed. I just kept sleeping. Couldn't keep anything down. I was vomiting. Wasn't going to the restroom a lot. And my wife, man, she was just begging me to go. She was like, "Please go to the emergency room. Go to the emergency room." And I just refused. And finally, I tried to get out of bed. Once I got out of bed, I fell directly just in the floor. I had no strength at all. I was always a large man, a strong man, big guy. I could always pick up anything I wanted, do anything I wanted. And I was in quite shock that I just fell directly in the floor, had no strength at all. And my wife was like, you haven't been going to the bathroom. You need to try to go to the bathroom. I tried. I couldn't go. I knew something was wrong. There was just something majorly wrong. So I sat on the edge of the bed. I told my wife, I said, just call 911. And she calls 911. She gets me, gets me in contact with the ambulance and everything. And they get on their way. And I started having respiratory issues. I think my lungs, it just started filling up with fluid. And man, my breathing just progressed from there, just really bad. Like I couldn't hardly breathe. It was almost like I was running a marathon. And my heart rhythm was just beating. My heart was like beating out of my chest. Later on, I found out my potassium was a score of a 9. And by the time I made it to my local hospital, I was in bad shape. And my local hospital here, for whatever reasons, did not have dialysis offered. And they didn't even have the machines. So once I got there and they did blood work and found out that I was in complete kidney failure, they put me in a helicopter and shipped me to San Antonio, which is about an hour drive. I got there in like 20 minutes. And once I got there, all I remember, Philip, is the ER physician saying, you better grab the crash cart. And from that point, I blacked out. And I woke up 3 days later. I had already been on a machine after this is stuff that my family had told me. I don't have any memory of this, but I woke up 3 days later in the ICU, intubated with tubes and hose lines running everywhere. They had already taken off like 30 pounds of fluid. I was just minutes from death. They told me I was just moments. Had I laid in the bed just for another 10, 15, 20 minutes, I wouldn't be here doing this interview right now. And the team there and in my local hospital, they worked really hard. Had they had made a split decision not to send me to San Antonio, I wouldn't be sitting here right now telling you the story. And then all the team down there in San Antonio, they worked really hard to get me, back to where I needed to be. And I stayed about 3 days in the ICU, progressed to just a general room, and I stayed in the hospital about 2 weeks. And of course, they kept me continuously on dialysis to try to pull off as much of the fluid and get as much of the toxins out of my body as they could. My IJ that was in my neck progressed to a permacath in my chest. So I did the chest catheter for about 3 months in center. And then I finally got a fistula installed. I had the fistula probably in September of, I don't know if it was, I think it was 2020, or no, it was 2019. And then once the fistula was mature enough to use, they took over and was using my fistula. It's right here in my upper left wrist area. But I ended up eventually progressing in center for about 10 months to ended up progressing to home hemodialysis. And I did home hemo for about 3 months. And then amazingly, I got the phone call for the miracle gift of life of transplant. And believe it or not, I have a friend's kidney that we grew up with. We went to church together. Our families have known each other for years. Because he had signed the back of his driver's license, he became a donor, and he ended up passing, sadly and unfortunate. I won't go into details of his passing, but he was a donor, and the family actually was able to, because he was a donor, to offer me and direct donate me his kidney. And just a really a mind-blowing, life-altering, humbling, and just I'm just like super grateful that they even thought of me. And they could have just left it alone and said, you know what, his organs are going to go to somebody. But they actually, called and said, hey, we'd like to offer you his kidney because we know you need a kidney. And I think one of the main reasons why they knew this was because I was sharing my post on social media. And So August the 8th of 2020, I got that call, and I had the surgery August the 8th of 2020, and they actually called me on the 7th. It was around midnight. That hospital actually called and said, "Hey, be here at 6 in the morning. We got a kidney for you. Are you aware of it?" And I said, "Yes, I am." And I didn't get a wink of sleep that whole night. Showed up at the hospital at 6 a.m. I was, I had anxiety. I was restless. I was nervous, of course, but I ended up getting the miracle gift of life of transplant, and here I am sitting now on the 11th of May. I'll be 9 months post, man, and I've really, really grateful, blessed, man. I'm blessed to be here. I started right away after my transplant. I started right away into advocacy and started wanting to share my story, try to help other people, inspire other people, give other people hope, and encourage them. And after you have a near death experience, man, just totally altered and changed my life, Philip. I just totally changed as an individual. Just wanted to help as many people as I could. I knew that there was a lot of people out there that were in need, and wanted to help them. So I started a Hope with Jonathan, where I interview other patients and talk with them, and basically give them a platform to share their story, just like you guys are doing here with Second Chance. But yeah, man, I'm blessed, man. I'm blessed to be here. 9 months post, I've got a lot more energy now. I'm riding my bike. I'm exercising. I'm living my best life right now with transplant and kidney disease. So that's pretty much the gist of it, Philip. Just blessed to be here.
Definitely. I understand that 100%. We both are transplant recipients, and yeah, the near death experience thing will definitely make you take a different look at life, and make those adjustments that you need to make. So before I
Yep.
go into any questions, why don't you go ahead and tell everybody about Hope with Jonathan and your advocacy work that you're doing on your channel.
Sure. So, Hope with Jonathan is based upon my near death experience with battling kidney disease and doing dialysis, and now a transplant patient. But I felt like after I got interviewed on urban media with Jared Brown, Steve Belcher, the Warriors Quest show, those guys brought me on. Jim Myers, Uncle Jim Myers from Kidney Stories 2, he brought me on. Kent Bressler brought me on his podcast. All these different platforms, they brought me on and interviewed me. And I thought, you know what? I think I maybe could do something like that and give patients a platform to be able to share their story as well. And those guys do an amazing job, but they all were inspirations to me. And so I took a look back and I said, you know what? I think I can do it. And I started a show. The advocacy page at first was Hope, Give the Gift of Life. So it was Hope for Jonathan. And I turned Hope for Jonathan. And once I got the transplant, I turned it into Hope with Jonathan. And I just think the word hope is powerful. My mom says heaven opens possibilities every day. That's what she gave to me to use for the word hope. Heaven opens possibilities every day. And so just hope is a powerful word. It's something that I hung on to the whole time while I was, dealing with the near-death experience, doing dialysis, just really hanging on to hope, man, and just my faith and belief in God, and the way that I was raised to, believe in prayer and the power of prayer. So I just believe in hope. And so I started Hope with Jonathan, like I said, just to give other patients another platform to be able to share their story, and hopefully the possibility of someone stepping forth to be a living donor for them, and things like that. So, and also to bring awareness to people that are out there, to show people that about kidney disease and things like that. You don't see enough of it. Yeah. And You see no disrespect to cancer. You see cancer everywhere, but you just don't see a whole lot of advocacy. You don't see commercials on TV or anything like that. So we just need more platforms like this one, and we need more platforms and more ways of being able to share about kidney disease and the effects of kidney disease and things like that, and bring awareness also for organ donation and things that nature. It's one of the reasons why I'm wearing my shirt tonight. I don't know if you can see the why not, but I definitely support why not and what they're doing as well. But anyway, yeah, just hope with Jonathan. It's just another way for a patient to come on, share their story, and I really love doing it. It's been an honor. I've had some amazing people on, some amazing warriors. So just some awesome stories. Each kidney warrior that comes on has a unique story. Some of the stories have blown my story. Like when I look back at my story and I think, man, I really went through some things. I really, to be honest with you, I haven't really been through much compared to some of these other warriors. And so it's definitely humbling and inspiring all at the same time to just sometimes sit back and listen to some of these other warrior stories. One in particular, Thelma Warner. Thelma Warner is from Atlanta, Georgia. She came on. She did a interview with me. I've actually interviewed her a couple of times. She's an amazing warrior. She's not only in need of a kidney right now, but she's a heart transplant patient already, and she's had like brain surgery. I mean, and now she needs a living donor to step up and give her the gift of life of transplant for in need of a kidney. And you can find out more information at Thelma Needs a Kidney, but on Facebook. But she's an amazing warrior. But it's stories like that just, man, it just keeps me going, keeps me inspired, keeps me motivated. Just amazing warrior stories. Many different ones that I've interviewed. Chris Ann Hernandez is one. She's an amazing warrior. Shane Blanchard, amazing warriors that I've interviewed. I've also interviewed a few from other countries, Canada, England. Just recently interviewed Dee Moore from the Diary of the Warrior, Kidney Warrior podcast. Dee Moore, she's in Birmingham, England, and just I'm really humbled with the way and the direction that Hope with Jonathan has went, and some came my way. It's been mind blowing. Definitely a godsend. So, but yeah, that's pretty much it, Philip. That's pretty much what Hope with Jonathan's about. Just sharing patient story and trying to motivate people and help encourage those that are in need.
Wow. I never met your mother, but just gained that much more respect for her just off of being able to put that together with the word hope. I definitely would have never come up with something as powerful as that.
Well,
Definitely.
Philip, my mom is one of the main reasons why that I'm who I am today. And so she's a prayer warrior, man. She's one of the reasons why I'm sitting here as well. She continued to just pray and believe for me, encourage me, and she's a strong lady. She raised me and my sister. My sister's hearing impaired, and she raised both of us. I'm from a broken home. My dad and her got a divorce when I was like 5 years old, and she's a strong woman of God, and she definitely believes in the power of prayer. So
Wow. Yeah, it's crazy because when I go through these interviews, for some odd reason, I always find some kind of connectivity between myself and the person that I'm interviewing. And uh, my parents got divorced as well. When I was younger, I was 2 when they got divorced.
mhm.
Um, I was definitely blessed to. I'm gonna say unfortunately, because some people don't have the opportunity to go through what I went through, even though my parents were divorced. They had a lot of time where they were fighting and things like that in the beginning, but they were able to find the common ground and be able to still raise me together, even though they weren't together. And so, I say that a lot to people because um, I definitely don't want it to be where people just continuously keep thinking that just because parents are divorced that they can't raise their kids.
Yeah.
You know, that's something that we need to stop doing in the world. But uh, enough with that. I'm not gonna go there. But I respect you a lot, man, because even the fact that you easily could not be here right now, you're still taking the time to advocate for other people, to help other people, to get the word out that they need a donor or just help in general. Not that many people can do that. Like I said, I think it may have been a little bit easier for me to kind of get into this because I've been dealing with this since I was 4. So uh, I've had certain people kind of step in, help me out here and there, or whatever. So it's always been, uh, I've always been that person to help other people, And so, but the one thing I noticed when you first started speaking was that you said that you just right before everything happened, you were already kind of trying to make that transition to changing your life with the exercising, the eating habits, and things like that.
Yeah.
And then you look up and you kind of find yourself in a situation, and when it got to that, did you think like, man, maybe it's just too late, or like what was your thought process after everything kind of started to transpire for you and happen, even after you'd already trying to making that change and transition in your life?
No, I just knew that this was a major wake up call, and evidently the effects of type 2 diabetes and hypertension had already taken its toll on my body. So I just had to accept it, and move on. And they told me, they said the walking and the exercising was actually probably what contributed to helping save my life, because my potassium was a 9. So when I got into the emergency room, and they said grab the crash cart, my heart was already in some sort of really strange rhythm. I went into, like a tachycardia, arrhythmia. It wasn't a heart attack, but my heart was definitely not beating correctly. And they said, they think the exercise actually contributed to saving my life. So had I not been doing all that and watching a little bit of my diet, even though I still had kidney disease unknowingly, I had no clue that I was fixing that. My kidneys were fixing to completely fail, but that contributed and helped save my life. So looking back on it, that was actually a life-saving decision. But now it motivated me even more, because I knew that I had lived for a reason, and I knew that I just had to continue. And there was a reason why I really feel like God saved me. And I knew I had to do more. I knew I had to do something. And there was a reason why that God had saved me. I easily could have passed, easily. But, like I said, God saved me for a reason. And I chose to look at it in the positive and say, okay, God, you saved me. Austin Lee, Mr. Edward Drake, Kent Bressler from Kidney Solutions, just so many, man. So many different, Steve Belcher, the list goes on and on. Wills Porter, just so many different people from the kidney community has embraced me and brought me in. We're like a large family, the community, just a huge family. And I knew I had made a great decision to jump into advocacy, and I plan on continuing to doing it, Philip, until I stop breathing. So as long as I got breath in my body, I'll continue.
Awesome. So my next question is your precondition of diabetes, is that what caused your kidney failure, or was it another underlying condition that you had? And how long before you actually found out that you had kidney failure did it really start? Because I know that they can kind of look back at certain test results or tests that they take at the time and say, well, you've been kind of dealing with this for XYZ amount of time. Were they able to tell you that, or how did that go?
Like I had mentioned before, I didn't really go to the doctors like I should, but in my earlier years, I was around probably 28. I'm 43, if anybody's wondering out there, but I was 28 when I got around that time. I got diagnosed with diabetes, and what had happened there was I had had some shortness of breath, and I just didn't feel well. I knew that there was something wrong. I ended up going to the hospital, and my sugar was like 400. And so they said, you're type 2 diabetic, sir. You got to go to the doctor. So I went to the doctor, and you know what they do? They immediately put you on metformin. So they put me on metformin. I think I was on like glucotrol, and so I know that type 2 diabetes was one of the major factors of why I ended up in kidney failure. But as far as pinpointing a time or a date or when it was really affecting me, all I can tell you is during the course of time from the age of 28 to 41, I didn't really manage my diabetes like I should have. I ate a lot of bad things, and there was periods of time when I did not have access to medication, whether it was just because of jobs that I was working didn't offer insurance, or on my own accord that I wasn't really trying to take care of myself like I should have been. And one of the main things was I was starting to have a lot of urinary tract infections, UTIs, and they were getting quite frequent. They were getting more frequent. I know in my late 30s, I had a really bad one that caused me to have blood in the urine. And I went to the hospital then, and I actually found out that I had some kidney damage. And that was when things kind of started evolving. That they said that, one of my kidneys was working really well, and one of the other kidneys was kind of working just, like it had really decreased in function. And I related it to the type 2 diabetes, and that's what they said as well. So all of it, all of this is pretty much factors of type 2 diabetes and hypertension. Um, the hypertension was diagnosed right around the same time of in my late 20s. And that's kind of a family history thing where my father had it, my mother has it, my grandparents have it. It's pretty common nowadays. A lot of people have hypertension, but it's all about management. You got to learn how to manage these things and medically treat it. And if you're not going to the doctor like I was, or you're not even trying to even take care of it and thinking that either you're going to make it better on your own accord or it's just going to go away, you're fooling yourself, because it's going to get worse. And that happened with me. I'm a prime example of it. The effects of type 2 diabetes, hypertension, just totally wiped out my kidneys. And I didn't have much education on any of this, Philip. You're basically, when I got diagnosed with type 2 diabetes, they handed me a pen and said, you have type 2 diabetes, go home and read this. And, at 28 years old, you're thinking you're superhuman, you're super strong, you're young. You don't think it's going to affect you in any way. And I glanced at it, and then I stuck it in a drawer. I can't tell you what happened to that pen. And I never really did any research on this stuff. I didn't even know what kidney disease was, or I had no idea that type 2 diabetes and hypertension were the top leading causes of kidney disease. I had no idea about that. Had I known, I would have probably taken care of myself a whole lot better. So, this is another reason why I do shows like Hope with Jonathan and shows like this, is to create awareness for that, because a lot of people are walking around with type 2 diabetes and hypertension, and they're not taking care of themselves. And, as you know, the effects of those two top things are eventually can cause you to have kidney disease and ultimately kidney failure. And I don't want to see anybody do that and go that route like I did, end up, crashed in the hospital with a near death experience. So, but ultimately, man, I think honestly, the main reasons why that my kidneys failed, if I had to pinpoint a time, is somewhere between the ages of 28 to 41. My kidneys begin to deteriorate, and then especially in my late 30s, with the urinary tract infections, blood in the urine, things like that. Also, foam. I started having a lot of foam, and when I say foam, I'm talking about like literally the whole toilet would just fill up. And if you know me, I'm a real direct, straightforward person. So I'm just giving it to you real. The foam was just the urine, and the foam would just literally almost come out of the toilet. That's how bad that the foam was getting. And, I now know that I was, have effects of kidney disease. And so, um, a lot of these things, Philip, boil down to education, and if you have a lack of education on what type 2 diabetes and hypertension can do to you, you're clueless until you start having effects like I was, UTIs, foam in the urine, blood in the urine, things like that, kidney stones, things like that, just different signs, different things, swelling, all types of different factors that were going on in my life, but I chose to ignore them.
There's no need to apologize about being direct, man. That's what a lot of people need is that direct talk to, because uh, who knows, somebody out there might be dealing with those situations that you were just referring to, and may not have known that it's related to their kidneys or anything like that. So any information that we get on here, we are open arms to let the people know about.
Sure.
Um, so one more question, and we'll go to a quick one more question and go to a commercial. But
Sure.
what's your nutrition looking like now? Like what have you noticed um, that you're eating now that you weren't before, that's made that transition a lot easier for you? I've seen the pictures of what you look like then, and you looking great now and making that transition. So uh, what's the nutrition side of your life looking like right now?
Well, after I went into kidney failure and I left the hospital, I really adhered to the renal diet, and I gave up milk, I gave up cheese, I gave up all kind of different things. I gave up the high potassium tomatoes and beans and all that. Philip, I was a pizza, fast food. My first 41 years, I ate a lot of junk. And if you put a salad in front of my face, I would laugh at you. I wouldn't even touch a salad. Vegetables, I just rarely would eat vegetables. I was cheeseburger pizza guy, and it was quite commonly known. So, like I said, once I had that near death experience, the wake up call, slap in the face, whatever you want to call it, when they came in and did the education on the renal diet, I was listening. And of course, that continued once I got to my in center with the renal dietitian. They would come out and educate me and send me home with different, uh, workbooks and things, and paperwork and things that could explain the renal diet in depth. I remember going to the grocery store. Me and my wife spent like 2 or 3 hours just reading labels about the high phosphorus, high potassium foods. So during my time on dialysis, man, I was just really strict, super strict. I stayed away from milk, stayed away from, cheddar cheese, things like that. High potassium foods like tomatoes, beans, things like that, and just cut a lot of that junk out. Just immediately cut it out, cold turkey, and started eating a lot of lean proteins. Small ounces of protein and like white rice, and then like some steamed veggies. That was a common dinner for me, and I ate a lot of the same things over and over again. Like in the morning, I would eat usually eggs for breakfast, and then I would eat like for dinner would be like again some sort of small lean protein with rice and veggies, and that's pretty much where it was at for like the 13 months that I did dialysis. I mean, and then of course I was still exercising, things like that, trying to keep the fluid levels down. Um, Real strict with the water. I only drank straight water. I gave up all sodas, drinks, all that stuff. I haven't had a soda in a long time. And so I'm just like drinking water and unsweetened tea and things like that, man. I just made some real drastic changes. I was drinking sodas. Like I would drink probably like a 12 pack of soda in a day if I wasn't careful. I mean, I would drink a lot of sodas. I'm talking about before kidney failure, and I knew I had to make some major changes, and so these were the changes that I made. I adhered right to that renal diet. Now, post transplant, I'm still really cautious. I'm eating a lot of grilled chicken. I'm eating salads, things like that. If I do dabble into like a pizza, here's the change. Instead of eating the whole pizza, if I'm going to cheat and eat some pizza, I'll keep myself to two slices. That's it. And then, I have to have the stopping point. The old Jonathan, I couldn't do that. Like I had no self control. Like I would eat like 6 to 8 slices of pizza in a sitting. As a matter of fact, I remember basically telling my wife she'd have to order 2 or 3 pizzas because I'd eat a whole pizza myself. And that's what was ultimately just destroying my body. So these are the type of changes, everything in moderation, for sure. So like if you're going to enjoy something like a sweet or something, instead of eating a whole sleeve of cookies, I may eat one cookie and say, look, I have my sweet and I move on, things like that. But I try to stay away from all that stuff. Like I'm conscious of it. If I do cheat, I feel bad. So I'm like, nah, I know I shouldn't have done that. So tomorrow I'm going to do better. And that's my mentality every day is I wake up and say, should I eat that today? Because I had this yesterday. And that's where the change is like having the mindset of, what can I do to improve, for today that I may have, made a mistake from yesterday. And I'm talking about, diet wise, or you can look at that in your everyday life. But I'm just daily just trying to improve, Philip, really, and making conscious choices and holding myself accountable. For diet choices. That goes a long way. I would never do that before. Like I never held myself accountable, but you have to learn how to hold yourself accountable for the choices, whether it's in diet or in life in general.
No, I definitely agree. Definitely have to hold yourself accountable. I went through that actually myself. Um, my transition of the nutrition thing happened for me. Thing when I had to go back on dialysis and I had to make that change. I mean, I wasn't eating super horrible foods or anything like that, but I knew it was things that I probably shouldn't have been eating, and so I decided to make that transition into, doing more grilling and salads and things like that.
Yeah.
So uh, now these past 11 years compared to what it was before, My nutrition, the nutritional side of myself is a lot better than what it was because I was like you, pizza and this and fried this and fried that, and it wasn't so much that I didn't care. I cared a lot. It was just the fact that I liked it and I wanted it, so I was going to eat it, right? So, but then I
It,
realized that I had to make that change,
yeah,
and I
it
think
can
that's
be very addicting. It can become very addicting, and fried foods, pizza, burgers. That lifestyle becomes very addicting.
definitely, definitely.
Yeah.
So we'll go to a quick commercial real quick. We're talking to Jonathan Traylor from the state of Texas, real good friend of mine, and we will be right back. Welcome back to a second chance. I'm here with Jonathan Traylor. Jonathan, man, you've given us a lot of needed information, man, and definitely appreciate you being on with us today. So I'm gonna switch to something. It includes you, but it doesn't include you. It's something that I think that's very important in transplant patients' life, which is the support system that they have. Exactly how important and how big of a role did your support system play in you going from knowing you're having kidney disease to you now with your transplant and hope with Jonathan and things of that nature that you have going on in your life?
Philip, support system is crucial to go through what I've been through with kidney disease. And first of all, my support from my family. Man, I'm so blessed to have it because I know there's so many people out there that some people have it and then other people don't. And but you don't want to battle, kidney disease alone. And my heart goes out to those that battle this without family support because it's so huge and crucial, not only for the mental side but also for your physical side of healing. And man, I can't begin to express to you how important it is. But like I said, I had family, friends, And also, I was introduced to Kent Bressler with KidneySolutions.org, whom now I volunteer with and work with them. They're a local nonprofit organization here. Kent is also a 34-year transplant recipient, and he helped me put me on his website. He also, helped advocate for me and help me pass out flyers, things like that, get the word out that I needed a kidney. And also, the great thing about Kidney Solutions was they had a support group. So I began meeting also with them locally, and then COVID hit. And once COVID hit, we started meeting virtually through Zoom. And we started having our Zoom support meetings, which we still have today, every Monday and Thursday at 6 p.m. Central. We have two support groups weekly. And man, they're just so therapeutic to talk with other people that battle kidney disease, dialysis, transplant, all of it, all the aspects of it. We don't necessarily always talk about kidney disease. We talk about our daily life. We talk about our family life. We talk about, some come on and talk about they had a really bad day, and we just sometimes we're just there to just listen. We just let patients just talk, and it's very therapeutic, man. And that's part of my support is the Kidney Solutions support groups, my family, my friends, my local church, people that have been major influence in my life. That's where my support lies, and it has been very beneficial, crucial when you battle something like kidney disease. And if you don't have, family, friends, you should definitely look out, talk to your social worker, maybe your local hospital. They may have a support group that you can join.
Definitely. Support is definitely needed with the type of illnesses and things like that we deal with as transplant patients. So to dig a little deeper into your support, into your family, you have two kids, right?
Yes, sir, I do. Jonathan the second, Jet. We call him Jet, like a jet airplane. He's 18 years old. He's at Abilene Christian University studying kinesiology. He wants to be a football coach. And my daughter Mackenzie, she's 17. She's my beautiful daughter. She don't want to admit it, but she's a lot like dad. And we cut up a lot. I cut up with both kids a lot, but right now my son's away. He's at college, but so I don't get to see him as much. He's fixing to come home though next week for summer break. But yeah, man, I got two kids. They've been great to me, great support. Um, they were. I put them through a lot with the kidney failure, and they were right there beside me all the way. Helped out with everything that I needed help with, whether it was whenever I was doing home dialysis, helping organize my supplies and things like that. I've got two really, really great kids. I can't say enough about my kids and my wife. They just all three very, very influential in my support, Philip.
So if I can, how long have you been married?
Just celebrated my 20th anniversary. So April 21st was my 20th anniversary to Melissa.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Congratulations to both of you.
Yeah.
So because I know that the way that we see things as patients is a lot different than how our support sees it and how they deal with it. With the what was their thought process, and how did they deal with these things when you came to them and told them like, hey, dad, has kidney failure, XYZ is going to have to happen. And I know you said you went from in center hemodialysis to home dialysis, and how was that transitioning? I know you just said that they helped as well. They were great, which is awesome. That they were able to set aside their own really kind of personal feelings about what they like to do or not like to do when it comes to certain things to still be able to help dad and get him through his situation. So, like, exactly, like, did you have to have certain talks with them to help them get through those situations, or whatever you feel comfortable speaking about?
Yeah, I mean, when I went into the emergency kidney failure, they didn't get to go with me. They actually had to watch the helicopter go fly, and there goes dad. And it was emotionally draining for them. It really was. It was hard on them, and yeah, we had to have lots of talks and lots of things. Hey, dad's got to make some life changes, and let me educate you a little bit about what dad's going through. And we had a lot of talks like that. And then, when I progressed into in-center dialysis, it was hard on them because I would come home from dialysis, man, I would just crash. I was just really tired. I didn't want to be bothered. I didn't want to talk. They'd want to talk to me there. They'd want to do something with me and say, hey, where's dad? Oh, he's asleep. It was hard on them. Really, it was. They didn't understand at first why dad was sleeping after he'd come home from dialysis. But it was just because it was just so draining on me physically. And but they quickly understood, and they started to understand why. And the more talks we had about the effects of kidney disease and things like that, they began to have a little more understanding of why dad was going through, and why it was important for dad to take care of himself, and why it was important for dad to follow the renal diet. And quick funny story is, one time I thought about cheating, and my daughter told me, said, I'm going to call your doctor right now. And we still laugh about that today, because she's, every once in a while, she'll tease me and tell me, she'll say, dad, I'm calling your nephrologist. But they were trying to just keep me in check. And like I said, the more talks we had, the more understanding they had. That's why it's good to have that open communication with your children, and not be afraid to talk with them about things like this. And they understood. And then when I went on the home hemo, they were like, okay, we got to understand that dad, we have to help him get the supplies organized and things like that. And they knew what was going on when I would. They knew when it was dialysis time and I had to hook up to the machine, how it was important that mom and dad were able to focus on getting me hooked up to the machine and things like that. And now they know, like, with the effects of COVID, how it's important for dad to be careful and be wide out where he goes and places he visits. And I can't be in a large group of crowd right now, and I have to wear my mask everywhere I go, and use hand sanitizer, and just be really, really careful, which I do. I'm very adamant about using my hand sanitizer, wearing my mask. I'm careful. I'm pretty much a homebody, but I do get out and go some places, but I don't go into crowds. I don't go into large crowds or anything like that. But no, man, they've been great as far as adapting to what dad's needs were. And they had an understanding. I really feel like it was because we took the time to have that communication, and really sit down and discuss about it. But I'm not going to sit here and lie to you, say it was always easy. It was hard on them. Like I said, kidney disease not only affects you as a person, but it affects the whole family. And it definitely can be taxing on the whole family, mentally and physically. And but like I said, they were able to eventually just adapt to what was going on, and they knew that the importance of transplant. And when I told them I was getting a kidney, they were really excited, because they knew that I wouldn't have to do dialysis anymore. So they were just really, really excited about it. So the kids were just great support for me.
That's awesome, man. Hats off to your kids and to your wife for being that support for you. Um,
Yeah.
I'm gonna go back to something we had a conversation about not too long ago, which was the nutrition side. When you made that change and that transition nutritionally, was that a family decision or was that something that you did just specifically for yourself?
It's a great question, Philip. I had the understanding that I was not going to force the renal diet on the whole family. And I was cooking a lot of my meals and preparing my own meals and things like that. My family understood the importance of why I needed to, adapt to the renal diet, and so, but I didn't force that upon them. I do talk with them about making good decisions. I use myself as an example all the time. You know, but uh, I didn't feel like I needed to force the renal diet on them. I was the one in kidney failure, but my wife ate a lot of meals that I ate, and she would help me cook some of these meals as well. And she would pretty much eat what I was eating, and I thought that was great. But as far as my kids, I didn't want to force it on them as well. But with that being said, I tried my best to educate them and talk to them why I was doing the renal diet, and I also would talk with them also about some changes that maybe they needed to make. Because you just try to lead them in the right direction. Sometimes, like the old saying, you can lead a horse to water, but you can't force them to drink it. And their kids, right now, they're kids. They think just like I did that they're superhuman, gonna live forever, type thing, type mentality. You know how kids are, 18, 17, they think like that. But you try to mold their minds and try to lead them in the right direction the best you can, and that's what we try to do. Even now, and they have noticed my life changes. They have really noticed. Dad. I noticed Dad eating a lot more grilled chicken and salads now. Things like that. So I think it's definitely been a positive thing where they're noticing it. So maybe one day that's the type of diet and lifestyle that they'll pick up on as well.
Wow. Yeah, that's I've asked that question to numerous people, and you're one of the rare ones that say that they didn't really try to force it on their families to make that change as well. Some people feel like in those situations that they have to, if they have to do it, then everybody else in the house has to as well because, you know, uh, they weren't going to sit there and watch them eat something that they can't have, or I have to sit here and eat this and you don't.
Yeah.
And so, but the fact that you still teach them and give them the advice
Yeah.
of eating certain things and hey, maybe you should change how you eat with this, or let's cut down on eating this or drinking
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
So the fact that you didn't, it was like a 50-50 thing. You didn't
Yeah.
like force it on them, but you gave them the information to
Yeah.
make that choice themselves, which
No.
is great.
Yeah, and they would kill me sometimes because they would order a pizza, man, right in front of me, and I would tease them the whole time. I'd be like, "Y'all really gonna do that right in front of me, huh?" And but they knew I was joking because honestly, I was just grateful that I had the strength to really abstain from it. Like the donuts were sitting there on the counter, and different things like that. Cookies and chips was in the cabinet, but ultimately it came down to my decision. Like, and the mindset was, do I want to live? Do I want to continue? Or do I want to try to indulge and eat half this bag, of Doritos or whatever? So it's really where it came down to. It came down to my mindset. My mindset had to be strong. And actually, in a weird way, I was patting myself on the back, and I was really proud of myself that I was able to abstain, because you as well as I do. Once they run the labs, they know what you've been eating for sure. So
Definitely.
yeah.
So this is really kind of like my last question for tonight. I
Okay.
won't hold you up.
All right.
To go back to something that you mentioned earlier with your potassium. And it's crazy because me and Austin have had this conversation before as well with the potassium thing. Did they make you drink K-Oxalate? Do you know what that is?
Um, I don't remember drinking anything like that. No, they. I just remember on basically telling me that I couldn't eat anything that had potassium in it, but they didn't. I don't recall if I had to drink anything like that at all.
Yeah, well, be happy that you didn't, because it's not the best thing in the world. It's one of those horrible medicines. It's equivalent to something your parents would have made you drink when you were younger that you hated, with a passion, and it was real chalky, had
Okay.
horrible taste to it.
Did
And
it draw the potassium out like a renal binder, only it was in a drink form?
something like that. Yeah, it will make you go to the bathroom a lot
Yeah.
and very quickly.
Yeah.
So be happy you didn't have to deal with that part of it. But if I'm we're gonna leave the audience with this one. If you had to give one thing to these people that are watching, what do you want them to take from this interview tonight?
I would say to remain as positive as possible and surround yourself with positivity. Surround yourself with people and your family, friends, support groups. Surround yourself with them when you are having a bad day or mentally just drained. You need to surround yourself, number one, with positivity, positive people, and also support group. Don't hold it in. Like, find somewhere that you can talk with people about what you're going through, because you need to get that out and not hold that in. And I really, really, really can't express enough of believing in your faith, whether whatever your religion is. Hang on to that. That is that is there for you to lean upon in the time of trouble. My faith in God, and my faith in the Lord Jesus Christ is what brought me through, and I really leaned upon Him in a time of trouble. And so I can't express enough of hanging around positive people, talking with people that are positive, surrounding yourself with a support group, strong support group, and also hanging on to your faith and believing in hope and hanging on to hope. Um, like I said, heaven opens possibilities every day, and that's what happened for me. And I really truly believe in the power of sharing your story. Share your story with other people. Not only you'll find out that not only is your story inspiring, but your story will also encourage and motivate others to want to continue on. Don't ever hesitate to not share your story. I definitely believe in the power of sharing your personal, what we call testimony or story. I definitely believe in the power of sharing your personal story. It's definitely uplifting, inspiring, and motivational all at the same time, especially for other warriors. And again, just hang on to hope, positivity, and surround yourself with strong support.
Oh, thank you for that, Jonathan. You just heard the wonderful, awesome story from Jonathan Traylor. Go ahead and let them know how to get in touch with you: Instagram, Facebook, email. Drop all that for the people.
So yeah, you can hit me on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, at Hope with Jonathan. If you want to, even hit me on Facebook. A personal account is Jonathan Traylor, and you can catch me on YouTube as well, Hope with Jonathan. So if you just look up Hope with Jonathan, and you should be able to find me. Working on a website currently, hopewithjonathan.com. And yeah, so those are pretty much the links. I really want to thank Philip and Austin, and want to encourage them with their show. They have a great show. Guys, continue to support them, doing amazing things. And really appreciate the opportunity to come on and do this interview with Philip. And I really think what they're doing is awesome. And God bless them for this platform to continue to inspire others and give other people hope.
Thanks a lot, Jonathan. We appreciate you. Appreciate your testimony, 100%. Um, if you have me on Facebook or anywhere, then Jonathan is probably a few steps around the corner somewhere, because we, tend to are part of the same things when it comes to this advocacy work. Um, so to end, I want to thank everybody for watching this evening. Uh, Anybody that was able to watch the 2021 Why Not Connect Pediatric Transplant Support Symposium on the past 29th and the 30th, we appreciate you taking the time to join us for this first one. We will definitely have many more to come from here on out. We made the announcement on the day 2 of our symposium of the return of the Why Not Connect support site, which will connect the healthcare professionals with the patients along with their families as well, in a very dynamic way. So please look out for that. That will be launched on June 4th of this year, 2021. Uh, and we look forward to seeing you all there registering. Definitely with, like Jonathan mentioned before, support. The support is key. And that's what one of our biggest things is at the Why Not Foundation. You see, Jonathan has his shirt on, my beauty as well. So thank you all for watching tonight. Jonathan, we appreciate you. Come through anytime, and we'll definitely have another great discussion. You guys have a wonderful night. Thank you.